Meet Reed Lance Rosenthal, rancher, #1 best-selling award-winning author, and unabashedly, unapologetically on the right side of the outstanding issues of our generation. But don't try to fence him in. Sometimes his positions will surprise you, because Reed is definitely his own man, with his own opinions. You might love him, you might hate him, but you won't be able to stop listening. Step over to the right side with Reed.
Howdy, listeners and viewers, coast to coast, Gulf to the 51st state, and around the globe. Reed Lance Rosenthal on the Right Side Radio and the Cowboys Take video channels everywhere. Make sure you give us a subscribe and a like and a little bell icon so you know when these shows come out. And this is going to be a very short show. And we're going to take a little break in our real estate series because next up is commercial industrial properties. But there's some things that you need to be apprised of because they are important. And excuse my get up here, but I am on the road for Mother's Day and my mom's 102nd birthday. Wow, unbelievable. And so my fixings are finite, shall we say. So how do you like this little arrangement with the cowboy hat, huh? Yeah. Not quite as comfortable as the ball cap with the earmuffs, but it'll work. What we're going to talk about today, there's a couple little tidbits I want to bring your way that'll probably give you a chuckle. But there's been a huge development in the midterm elections. And that is a Supreme Court ruling, basically the week before, right at the end of the week before last, that threw out, it was called Calia, that threw out all the race baiting, race-oriented, race-centric congressional districts in the United States. In other words, the Democrats have been gerrymandering for years based on race because, that's who they are, right? Let's separate everybody by age, by income, by race, by whatever we can do to separate them, make them feel like victims and make them vote for us. Well, the Supreme Court threw all that out. And this is huge because there's 17 red states and several more, I think, about to begin that are redrawing their maps right now, like literally over the last week, to go with the Supreme Court decision and to go back to the old non-race baiting maps. And this could be as much as 15, and actually as few as 15 and as much as 30 or 34 Republican seats in the House of Representatives. I mean, it's really a big deal. And it's also about that number less for the Democrats. So the midterms, which were, let's face it, not looking all that great, have taken on a whole new complexion. And these states are going for it. Alabama just came out with they want the DOJ to reassert through the Supreme Court all the 2023 maps in all the states. In the meantime, Indiana, Missouri, Arkansas, yeah, I mean, you name it, across the board are busy redrawing their maps to comply with the Supreme Court decision. And the Democrats, of course, are wailing about it because, if you're not an illegal alien who's voting and you're not a black person who's been made to feel like the victim, then who's going to vote for him, right? So this is a really big deal. And I'll tell you another reason it's a big deal. It's a big deal because with this huge beacon of hope, you need to get involved if you have not been. And maybe you have been not extremely excited about the Iran conflict. Maybe you have not been extremely excited about Trump's tariffs. But, folks, look at the alternative. I mean, need I say more? One of the little things I'm going to bring you today is that Mandami, to make a big show for his socialist crowd, was outside berating to his face a billionaire who lives in New York City. This is at a time when New York City is tens of billions of dollars underwater, and he wants to do more free stuff, right? Remember Margaret Thatcher saying, socialism works till you run out of other people's money? So he is haranguing his tax base, right, to fund all his freebies. This doesn't work too well over time, folks, but it does tell you where the Democratic Party is at. And we're going to be talking more about the fraud, the election fraud, etc. I have a host of articles on the website for you. They are all under election fraud because the original gerrymandering of these maps, according to race, which obviously is unconstitutional. I don't know why it took so long to get this done, but we got it done. So those original maps are out. The new maps or the old maps that didn't have that nonsense in them are back in. There's going to be a bunch of court battles, but already, like Virginia with Spanberger, their Democratic governor, who is left of left, all right? She played the moderate game to get elected, and now she's showing her true colors. But Virginia had gerrymandered to wipe out 4 Republican seats so that there basically be 10 Democratic congressional seats and 1 Republican. Well, the Virginia Supreme Court, in a 10-1 ruling, I mean, this wasn't even close, said no, this is totally outrageous. You got to go back to the old map. So the Democrats are losing on their little election fraud gambit of racial gerrymandering and party line gerrymandering everywhere. This is huge for the midterms, huge. So get involved. Go to elections donations on the website, on the rightsideradio.com. And there's, I think, a 35x match. I think there's a 50x match. In other words, if you put in $20, you've contributed $1,000 to Republican campaigns for congressional seats. I mean, where else are you going to get a bang for your buck? And particularly in concert with these latest, literally 10-day-old happenings and accelerating like a big old political snowball. I mean, we got a real shot here. Don't blow it. Get involved. Write a check. Talk to your friends. Make sure people are registered. Make sure people are going to vote. And get them to throw in $10 or $20 for a 50x match or a 35x match. I mean, that's outrageous leverage to make your voices known. Now, on the other side of the coin, Iran. Okay, I've already told you what I think. I think the overall concept is great. It's 20 years late. Thank you, Obama. And but we need to finish the job. And I told you what I think Trump has done wrong. I mean, listen, he he has uh, he has access to a lot more information than the hayseed does. But I think the ceasefire was wrong. Not putting the blockade into position was immediately was wrong. Was a bad mistake. And I think this dancing around on the head of a pin with these limited strikes, like on Banderas and some of the ports the other day, uh, let's just go do it. Let's get this done. Okay. And whatever that takes, that takes. So we don't have to revisit this issue in the future. And the world doesn't have to revisit this issue. More on this down the road. I'm not going to give you the blow by blow because that's not what this show is about. But there's a lot hanging in the balance on this. And yes, it involves Russia. And yes, it involves China. And yes, it involves global oil dominance or energy dominance. And it involves the chess game that's going on between Russia, China, and the United States and their spheres of influence, which we've talked about. And then we have, believe it or not, we have a situation where AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, oh yes, AOC. AOC has now rewritten. I brought you a little story, I think a week or two ago, where Wikipedia changed history to go with what she said. But Wikipedia, folks, you can rely on them. So her new gig is that the real revolution, folks, was in 1963. There was no revolution in 1776. I want you to know that. This is all a figment of your imagination. It's made up history books. George Washington, who the hell was he with some rich, privileged white guy, you know? The real revolution was 1963 with the Voting Rights Act. Okay, that will kind of tell you where Ocasio-Cortez and the rest of her Democratic Communist Party is at. All right, I am not going to bother you. I'm going to wish you a happy Mother's Day. This being Mother's Day, all you moms out there and all you kids, you better wish your mom a happy Mother's Day and take her to lunch, get her flowers, do something. Do something. And I'm going to be back at you shortly, and by shortly in a couple days, with the next installment of real estate, commercial and industrial, which I think you'll find fascinating. And there's components to small towns here, not just big cities. And it's very interesting how different areas and different locations are dealing with expansion or contraction in various types of commercial space. And it also hinges, right, on residential, folks. The better your commercial is doing, the more residential is going to be built. The worse it's doing, the more inventory is, the lower the prices are. All right. And I'll be back to you with a ranch story and all that kind of good stuff too. In the meantime, happy Mother's Day. Get involved in these midterms. We have been given a huge, huge lifeline. Don't blow it. It's up to us, nobody else. Keep the wind at your back. We'll talk to you shortly.
Please remember, if you've missed any shows, just click on Show Archive and you'll find all of his shows. We look forward to seeing you here again next week for another episode of Read Lance Rosenthal on the Right Side.